What's the closest you've ever been to a real life porn scenario? Went to a bar with a friend for his birthday. We get nice and swifty and all of a sudden 2 chicks walk in and I am all in for one of them. Turns out my friend knows the other one. We meet and start chatting. Good thing is, she is into me as well. A couple of shots later, we are making out. She asks me to come outside with her for a moment. Naturally I oblige. Near the entrance door was a curtain in which she wrapped the 2 of us. Goes down on her knees and just starts sucking me off like there is no tomorrow. Just for very short period though, no orgasm. Some more shots follow. The girls excuse themselves for a moment. They said they had to go home for a bit. We don't hear from them anymore. I am bummed out and go home. 30 minutes later my phone rings. It's my mate telling me to stop what I am doing and come to his place. Right away I ask why. He tells me to shut up and get into a cab. I arrive at his place. He opens the door in his gown. I enter his living room. The 2 chicks are naked in bed making out. You can take it from here. I came home around lunchtime the next day. In France, on skiing holiday, we were hanging out in the receptionist's apartment. We made friends with the girls working behind the counter, and we were smoking weed. Me and one of the girls hadn't done anything yet, but I could feel the tension between us. She was laying on her bed on her side with her back and butt turned towards me, and I was sitting next to her on the bed while my friends were just chilling and we were just talking and listening to music. I was very slightly touching her with my hand, but I was way too awkward by the weed to really make a move. At one point one of my friends said we're gonna go to our room, but I feel like someone wants to stay, and I looked at her and said, can I stay for a bit? She turned at me, looked me deep into my eyes and said, yeah sure, we can talk. The whole time of my friends walking out of the door, which was probably taking about a minute or so, we just kept on looking at each other, knowing what was going to happen. And as soon as the door closed, we instantly started making out. Crazy sex right afterwards. Hottest situation I've been in until now, no doubt. I got left behind by my friend on a trip and I had to get a ride with a stranger. 2 beautiful blonde girls said they'd take me back to the city. We were in a trail in Banff, and we were talking on the way back. When we were close to the city they asked me, so, do you have plans for tonight? And I was like, yeah, I already have. They seemed bummed and I didn't really think that through and got to the hotel. I hate myself for that even today. I used to be so monumentally bad at picking up on signals, or even remotely considering the possibility that a girl wanted to have sex with me. After my finals, my class organized a party at this beautiful outdoor location surrounded by fields, trees and close to this fairly secluded swimming pool. I was pretty drunk already, lying in the field next to the path to town when the hottest, by a mile, girl from my class walked by. I cheerfully called, hey, name redacted. She stops, looks at me and asks, what are you doing there? I shrug and say, just enjoying the sun. You? She responds, I'm feeling pretty tipsy already, think I'm going to go home, and starts walking up the hill. After 2 steps or so, she stops, turns to me and asks, wanna come? I just shook my head and drunkenly exclaimed, nada, see you around, and she walked off. One of my mates from school still gets irrationally pissed off when I tell this story, but I swear to God, I just didn't think she was interested in me at all. We, the girl and I, hooked up at our class reunion 10 years later. It was amazing. Good things come to those who wait. Senior asked to switch classes with me to get the better teacher. She was willing to do anything. When I clarified anything, she just repeated anything. And then I didn't switch. Duck if I'm gonna deal with a worse teacher for 1 year for 3 minutes of pleasure. A girl I knew asked if I could come over to help her move some boxes left by the previous tenant of her apartment. I arrive and knock on the door. It was open and she was clearly home. She had described the previous tenant as a scary guy who was causing some problems, so I was slightly concerned. So I go ahead and walk in, and right as I was about to call out her name, she walks into the room naked. Oh yeah, but then she screamed, covered herself and ran into the other room. Turns out it wasn't an intentional nude welcome. She had just gotten out of the shower and hadn't heard me knock. We're still good friends though. My roommate and her best friend burst into my room at night demanding they sleep in my bed. The best friend even showed me her boobs to try to get in. But the catch, they didn't want me in it. For context, My roommate had a terrible bed and would take naps in mine to make up for the horrible sleep. Then they went out drinking and thought it would be a good idea to try to get me to trade beds for the night. It was big enough for the 3 of us, but they want that. I was a graduate teaching instructor and a really hot girl showed up at my office and told me she would do anything to boost her grade in my class. I went through the grade book and told her which projects she could edit and resubmit for a higher grade. I live in NYC. I used to live in the Upper East Side very close to a girl I had hooked up with a couple times. During Hurricane Sandy, she invited me over to her place to drink and hang out with her roommate, who had explicitly stated interest in me previously. However, Borderlands 2 had been released only a few weeks earlier, and as any self-respecting 26-year-old male would have done at the time, I decided to stay home and play with my brother all night. I do not regret my decision. My ex had a friend that rented a new place. She was lonely and upset since her boyfriend left her. We were in the living room watching TV. She goes on saying that we should stay and keep company. My ex, she said, we are all gonna cuddle on the same bed. My said I have to go home to my dog. I think I went home and even my dog was upset with me. Your dog was probably not upset, just disappointed. Sounds like my dad. I was at a festival close to 10 years ago. While walking in the camping area, 2 girls look out of a tent and ask if I want to come inside and watch a movie. Obviously I was stupid and did not think about what they really asked. I went to the waterfalls with my boyfriend and we almost had sex in the bushes. We would probably do it if a family with a child didn't appear. Walked in on my GF's parents going at it on the living room couch. They were very liberal. Means they saw us enter and didn't stop. My GF was mortified. Me? Not so much. Her mom was hot. We had a couple come into the supermarket I was working at and proceed to try and make a porno in the frozen pea chest freezer. Female best friend broke up with her boyfriend, came over for tea and said let's go to your bedroom to chat. We talked for an hour. Complains about her back being sore. Here is where my brain cells vanish. Me. I proceed to give her a massage. Her. I that your phone poking me. Ha ha ha. Me. Ha here now my phone's next to you. Continues massaging. Strike 1. Her. My legs are feeling tight too. Can you do them as well? Me. Sure. Anywhere particular? Looking at her wiggling her butt like a worm. Her. Hamstrings. Me. Massages hamstrings. Her. Don't be afraid to be rough and a little higher. Wiggles again. Me. Massaging intensifies. Strike 2. Me. Feels like you're done. Her. Love a deep message. Me. Yay. It's great for muscle repair and blood flow. You should check out a physiotherapist. Strike 3. Missed all the signs. That is why I am single, friends. I used to be a delivery driver in a college town. One day someone called in a delivery to a house near campus that was requested to be delivered by a specific driver. Anyways, the guy was out of the shop and the food needed to get out, so I took the delivery. When I get to the house, I was greeted by a very attractive redhead wearing only her underwear. It became very clear to me why she requested a specific driver. Went to a friend's house on the weekend to swim. He's out running errands but tells me his older sister is there and he'll be back in an hour. She's in a pretty thin bikini when she opens the door, and as soon as I come out of the bathroom after changing into my trunks, she comes around the corner naked and asks how her tan lines look. Had some crazy good times with that girl, but she basically slept with any guy she met. Always keep a condom with you, boys and girls. A girl asked me to help her download movies on her laptop in her apartment. When I got there, she brought me to her bedroom. I was confused as to why in her bedroom when we could have done it in her living room. She asked me to download 50 Shades of Grey, and she wanted to watch it with me. I got a hint, so I ducked her. A girl from my class invited me over to her place to fix her laptop. Nothing's broken, just reinstalled some apps and some. She's been looking at me like meal the whole time. Eventually, I walked out of that house proud of myself and still a godless virgin. Good thing I'm stupid. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below, and we'll see you in the next one.